Hello everyone, my name's Colton, and in this video I'm going to be giving a brief overview of my repository that I've been working on, which is called Sight-Free-Talon. It's a way of integrating screen readers, text-to-speech, and Braille alongside Talon and its associated dictation and macro capabilities. So this is going to be useful for anyone with RSI in addition to their screen reader use, since screen reader use tends to be very heavy on the hands, or just in general, anyone that's looking to reduce eye strain and just use their computer less visually. So a few caveats I'll give at the start here. Some of our commands are likely to change in the future, so to get the most recent commands, it's helpful to look at the repository itself, which I will have linked below. I'm also going to be using some community commands, which are the community script set. You don't really have to understand this much if you're not familiar with this sort of ecosystem of Talon, but essentially these are the sort of standardized community scripts that most people use. And then finally, I will say that during this presentation, I'm going to be using a hotkey to toggle Talon on and off. So if you don't hear me saying the explicit commands to wake or sleep Talon, that is why. So starting off at the start, I'm just going to show some simple examples of how we can navigate with Talon and just say some commands even without using a screen reader.
Talon has woken up.
Control trap.
Control trap.
Word Wikipedia.
Word Wikipedia.
Enter.
Enter.
Echo context.
Microsoft Edge diffuse large B-cell lymphoma. Wikipedia and 5 more pages. Work. Microsoft Edge. Talon has gone to sleep.
So those are some simple commands there, just us pressing some keys, dictating some text, navigating to a website, saying the command echo context to tell us what website we're actually in. Now, with that, we can start to show some a bit more complicated commands.
Talon has woken up. A bit more complicated commands.
Toggle echo context.
Echo context enabled.
Focus code.
Focus code. Visual Studio Code.
Focus edge.
GPT. Focus Edge. Microsoft Edge.
Tab hunt GitHub.
Sight-Free.
Toggle echo context.
Echo context disabled. Talon has gone to sleep.
So with those commands, we were able to jump to a specific tab by giving the name of the tab. So in that case, I was able to say GitHub and I was able to jump to it. I was also able to use the command toggle echo context to turn on a sort of automatic context echo every time I jumped between applications. So that's acting sort of like a mini screen reader in the sense that it's telling us the state of the screen as we move our focus. Now, those are relatively simple at the start, but now we can start to integrate it as well with our screen reader.
Talon has woken up.
Toggle reader.
Turning NVDA on. Taskbar.
Focus code.
GPT-utils.talon-user-visual studio code. GPT-utils. Rango.talon, editor group 2 editor has autocomplete multi-line number focus tab by text. Timer.py, editor group 2 editor has autocomplete multi-line reminds you to take a break once. Talon has gone to sleep.
So there's just the basic screen reader integration like we would see just with our normal screen reader use. This is NVDA just for context.
Def I line, class act, def I line break,
And you can see how it's using the same TTS engine that we were using previously just with Talon. So if we say Talon commands alongside the screen reader, it's going to interrupt them just like we would expect from our normal screen reader use. So that's all well and good, and that's relatively normal. But the cool thing with Talon is that now because we've integrated our screen reader with Talon, we can start to integrate some of the more fancy scripts created by users within the Talon community. So for instance, a lot of the voice programming actually transfers relatively well. So here I'm going to show an example of how I can select all the text in a given function just by giving a voice command. So I don't have to sort of move the cursor up and down and try to intuit where the end of the function is. I can just say a specific command.
Talon has woken up.
Take func this.
Def I line break line callback left paren, right paren, colon, reminds you to take blank. Notify, class app, def I, Talon has gone to sleep.
So it selected the entire function there. I wasn't going to have it read out the entire thing since that's sort of beyond the point, but it takes the entire function and will select it for us, which is really useful. So we can combine that as well with some of the cool AI integrations with Talon. And I'm going to show an example here of how I can select an entire function, then I can have it just be described using an AI tool, so I don't have to try and move my cursor through the entire thing, especially if it's something that is written by someone else and might be difficult to understand. So let's show an example here of how I'm going to select. I'm going to select the function, and then I'm going to have it described to me.
Talon has woken up. No unselected. Timer.py, comma, editor group 2 editor has def I line break line callback left paren,
Echo
right
explain
paren,
this.
colon. This is a piece of code that sets up a function called quote I line break line callback quote dot. This function is designed to remind you to take a break when a timer goes off dot. The function will display a notification saying quote 20 elapsed quote dot. The purpose of this function is to help you rest your eyes and take a break from whatever you are doing dot. Talon has gone to sleep.
So you can see there that was just describing a simple command, or a simple function I wrote rather, that was used for my own personal use for just setting a timer while I was working at the computer. But you can see how that's a really easy way for us to gain some useful information about how we're interacting with our code. So we can also sort of jump between code, and so I will give an example here again.
And so I will give an example here. Talon has woken up.
Take previous func.
Def break line wrapper left paren, right paren, colon,
func.
if settings dot, def notify left paren, message colon, str right paren, colon, def break line wrapper left paren, right paren, colon, if settings dot get left paren, quote user dot enable line break line timer. Talon has gone to sleep.
So that's just a simple example there of sort of jumping between functions. Cursorless is essentially a programming language for your voice that operates on code, so it's very complex. You can chain together a ton of different commands, but that's just the simple functionality there of jumping between functions. And if you're interested, there's definitely a ton to learn. You can select individual lines, individual characters, specific tokens, classes, functions, all the sorts of programming constructs. So that is definitely something worth looking into. Now, the next thing I will show simply here as well is just another AI integration, a way in which we can ask a question to essentially ChatGPT and have it echoed back to us. This is just more of a novelty thing, but something that's cool and interesting to show off.
Talon has woken up.
Echo ask, what is the best way to learn French?
Echo ask, what is the best way to learn French? The best way to learn French can vary depending on individual preferences and learning style. However, comma, here are some effective methods that can help you in your language learning journey. 1. Take formal classes. Enrolling in a structured French course with a qualified teacher can provide a solid foundation. It allows you to learn grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation in a systematic way. 2. Practice with native speakers. Talon has gone to sleep.
So we don't need to go through that entire response there, but it is interesting to show how a lot of these AI tools, I think, are kind of the next step to make a lot of representations of graphical user interfaces and just other ways in which sighted people interact with the computer more terse and more succinct for people that are interacting with a screen reader. So yeah, in general, that's been sort of the high level overview of some of the work I've been doing. Essentially, the high level sort of takeaway is the sense that we have all these commands within Talon, and we can say essentially any of them we want. We could have a function that echoes text back to the user, and normally that happens when I'm saying a command, but as I was showing there, we can also use it to call text-to-speech on the response of an AI tool, on the response of other Talon scripts. So it's really extendable, and there's a lot of potential for customization. So that's essentially the overview of the program. I encourage you to reach out to me if you have any questions or if you're just curious about the program in general. I also encourage you to file any feature requests you would find useful. And yeah, thank you for watching the video.
Stop